Salvatore Toto Riina, infamously known as the Beast, stands as one of the most notorious and terrifying figures in the history of organized crime. A man whose name alone evokes fear and dread throughout Italy and beyond. Born in 1930 in the bleak and poverty-stricken village of Corleone, deep in the heart of Sicily, Riina's childhood was shaped by hardship and loss. His father died tragically in an explosion. When Salvatore was just a young boy, leaving his family in dire poverty and forcing him into a world where survival depended on toughness and cunning. From a very early age, Riina was exposed to the harsh realities of Sicilian life, where the shadow of the Mafia loomed large over the rural landscape. Cosa Nostra, the Sicilian Mafia, was more than a criminal organization. It was a brutal system of power, loyalty, and violence that controlled almost every aspect of daily life in these isolated communities. Into this world, young Riina was drawn, a world where respect was demanded. Fear was a currency, and death was a common punishment for betrayal or weakness. By the age of 19, Salvatore Riina had already crossed a line that few dared to approach. He committed his first murder, an act that was both a grim rite of passage and a chilling signal of the darkness within him. Unlike many who sought to avoid confrontation, Riina showed an early willingness to use violence as his primary tool. He quickly rose through the ranks of the Corleone Mafia clan, initially under the mentorship of Luciano Leggio, who himself was a ruthless and cunning boss. But Riina was no mere follower. He was strategic, cold, and relentlessly ambitious. He understood that power in the Mafia world was not given. It was taken often by force. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Riina consolidated his influence by systematically eliminating rivals and dissenters within and outside the organization. His approach was brutal and uncompromising. There was no room for mercy or negotiation. The 1970s marked a turning point in the Sicilian Mafia's history and in Riina's career. Riina played a central role in this pizza connection. The massive narcotics network that smuggled heroin into American cities using pizza parlors as fronts. This era also saw an escalation in violence. Riina's reign was characterized by a reign of terror designed to intimidate both rivals and the Italian state. He orchestrated numerous assassinations, not just of competing gangsters, but of judges, prosecutors, and law enforcement officials who dared to challenge the Mafia's power. Among the most shocking of these were the murders of anti-Mafia magistrates Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino in 1992. Bombings that horrified the nation and sparked a wave of outrage. Riina's power was not simply maintained through fear alone. It was reinforced by a complex system of corruption that infiltrated political and economic institutions throughout Sicily and Italy. He bought silence and loyalty with bribes, threats, and violence, effectively creating a shadow government where the Mafia's interests were prioritized above all else. The Mafia under Riina was a ruthless enterprise that controlled everything from construction contracts and local businesses to the highest echelons of political power. His influence stretched far beyond the streets of Corleone or Palermo, reaching into the corridors of Rome's government. Despite his fearsome reputation and the manhunt launched against him, Riina managed to evade capture for decades. His ability to remain hidden was testament to his extensive network of loyal followers and his own cunning. He lived like a ghost, pulling strings from the shadows, and continuing to command a vast criminal empire while on the run. It was only in 1993, after one of the largest and most intense police operations in Italian history, that Riina was finally arrested. His capture was a watershed moment in the fight against organized crime in Italy, signaling a new era in which the Mafia's power would begin to wane. Riina was subsequently tried and convicted of multiple crimes, including dozens of murders, and sentenced to several life terms in prison. Yet even behind bars, his shadow loomed large, with many fearing that his influence could still reach outside the prison walls. His death in 2017 marked the end of an era, but did little to erase the legacy of violence and corruption he left behind. Today, Salvatore Riina's story serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the capacity for evil when ambition knows no limits. It is the story of a man who rose from the ashes of poverty to rule a criminal empire, with an iron fist whose thirst for control plunged a nation into chaos, and whose reign of terror forever changed the landscape of the Sicilian Mafia. A chilling testament to the darkest side of human nature and the enduring fight for justice.